And welcome back to Late Night Lately, the late night show. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the late night show for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. I'm thrown off. I just fed the pets. The dog came over here to see what I was doing. He's been so nosy. He's had a nice full day. My God. And then I had to push him away. So if you saw the video, you saw my right arm just like shoving him away because and also I know that he just finished eating. And I know that he just finished lapping up a lot of water. And if you have a messy dog, and I would say 90% of the dogs are messy, this man came up to me with the wettest face and just put it in my butt. I was playing with some type of bone. Late Night Lately, 48. Here we are, Christmas time. Trying to get some coverage for late night. Yes, here we are. Not a lot of shows were on this week. Colbert was on, and who else was on? Oh, Fallon and Myers. Now, there were, again, like I said, there's not a lot of shows that were on. In fact, I spent most of my time catching up on the Graham Norton show because I record it on YouTube TV. I don't want to watch clips unless I've already watched them in the past on the YouTube. But I want to watch it. I want to watch it live. I want to laugh with everybody. Not live, but recording the episodes. So I'm behind on all the late night this week, except for Seth Meyers. I watched that every single day. Now, what I wanted to do was do the same culmination thing, blah blah blah. But I thought that's boring. We know Fallon was doing his 12 Days of Christmas sweaters. We know Colbert was doing something over there at his show. And then I look to my subscriptions and I see two big sorry. I'm looking at one of the subscriptions right now and I scrolled past a whole line and I now need to include a couple of videos. But I thought, you know what? Why don't I just talk about the holiday stuff that some of these hosts have done. Case in point, Conan O'Brien. I remember when he had his shows on, he did a lot of great, funny Christmas things. Like the time he became Santa, the time he went to check out Christmas lights, and then the gift wrapping thing was something that I watched live that was happening. And then the Secret Santa thing was another thing I watched live. Letterman also had his own Christmas things. He had eggnog stunts. He had Jim Carrey, Will Ferrell sing Christmas carols. He also had Santa Claus moments and holiday traditions. I just think it's fun to watch these nice long videos, compilations and everything. Hey, also, Dave has a FAST channel of free ad-supported television. I don't know if I talked about that last week. But it was announced that Dave has a FAST channel, and I believe it's available on Pluto, right? No, Samsung TV Plus. So if you have a Samsung TV Plus, I did talk about this. I remember it distinctly. And then I thought, what else could I talk about on this show? I'll fix my posture. I got a little bit more comfortable and I went, no, it's not going to work. And then I thought, what else am I going to do on the show? And then, as I said, I've been watching Graham Norton all week long. What am I going to talk about? Boom, let's talk about Graham Norton. If you don't know who Graham Norton is, he is a television presenter over there in foggy London town. I jokingly said that to somebody this week, and I've been saying it ever since. He's hosted a lot of shows, but this one is by far his longest running, and I would probably say most popular. It's called The Graham Norton Show. It airs on BBC America in America, and BBC One over there across the pond. It's a very funny show. It's a panel talk show where guests like, Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Keira Knightley, Zoe Kravitz, and a musical guest. They all sit down and they all talk together in front of an audience of people from around the world. It's an excellent show, and everybody should check it out because they have funny, great people on. People like tonight's episode will be Daniel Craig, Nicola Coughlan, Jesse Eisenberg, Kieran Culkin, and musical performance by Flo. They're British? I had no idea. Also, I just learned who they were maybe a month ago. Anyway, I think it's a fantastic show. As I scroll through the Wikipedia, there's not much to talk about. And anyway, I have one more thing I want to talk about. Ratings. So this past year, we saw a change in the late night sphere. We saw Fallon lose his Friday shows, and Seth Meyers lost his band. Even though Colbert and Kimmel were doing great in ratings, the only thing we really saw change for them, I mean, truly for Colbert, nothing. For Kimmel, we saw a little bit longer of the monologues, and a lot of them were more targeted towards one-person Trump, which is great. After Midnight launched in this past calendar year, I think, and we saw the start of a show in this new age of internet. We saw this show start, and I will say, in terms of, I know I'd kind of bag on this show a little bit, because they choose the same people over and over again, but I will say they have found their footing, and they are flourishing. Didn't want to do the alliteration with the F's, but I ended up going with it anyway. They are flourishing over there. I don't know how ratings are. We'll talk about ratings in a second. But it's good to see that show bring in voices that wouldn't typically be on late night, in the same way that At Midnight did. Who else? We saw John Oliver gain ownership of the last few seasons of every season of that show. And now you can go on to Last Week Tonight's YouTube page and watch pretty much every single big story they did. I don't know about, because each big story has preamble of a bunch of smaller ones, or one smaller one, something like that. But now you can see basically every single episode on the YouTube channel, which is how these things should be handled. I want to see every SNL sketch available, good or bad, or pitiful, or just horrible. Peacock needs, they should work on that. Because sometimes you go to Peacock and you put on an SNL episode from like the 80s and it's 20 minutes. Put on an episode from 2004 and it's 32 minutes. It's because of sometimes it is because the sketches use real songs and they don't want to pay the residuals for that, or the money for that, which makes sense. But other times, sketches are just missing from the internet. You have to go to, sorry, my lawyer just texted me. One word. I answered you like 7 hours ago. And I was volunteering at the time. I was volunteering. This man sends me a text. Did you do this yet? Yeah, I did this. 5:45 on a Friday. Thanks. What else did we see? Oh, for the Daily Show, we saw the return of Jon Stewart, for better or worse. But at the same time, all of the correspondents have been shining, and the new correspondents are doing really well too. Am I forgetting somebody? I don't watch Bill Maher. Now let's talk about ratings. This comes from Late Nighter. I literally just this is what I googled. Late night ratings, and then I went to the news section, and thank goodness Late Nighter has this. This comes from Jed Rosenweg. Oh, I know late. Okay, this is the reason I know this website. I was like, this name sounds familiar. I have read a couple of things from here, but also I applied to be like their senior editor at one point, and I don't remember how I got to the application process. Anyway, year-end ratings. Drum roll, please, because a show you do not watch has the highest ratings, has huge gains. Gutfeld sees huge gains when it comes to 2024. We know that traditional late night shows aren't doing so hot, and more so they're doing well online. According to year-end Nielsen ratings data released by Fox News, Gutfeld, which is hosted by Greg Gutfeld, grew its nightly average to 2.5 million total viewers, a 35% increase over last year. Among viewers aged 25 to 54, it was a similar story, with a nightly average viewership of 355,000 viewers, up 33% year over year. I think what you also have to take into consideration, and yes, you can apply what I'm about to say to literally every network. But he does not, Gutfeld's show, that audience, for them, there is no other competition. Like, if I'll put it this way, if Star Wars Episode 10 released right now versus, I can't think of a movie. I couldn't think of a movie small enough that I wanted to hurt. At the end of this sentence, I will choose a movie from my personal collection to crap on. Okay? And it does not mean that the movie is bad. It just means that this is the first movie that I'm about to say. All right. If Star Wars Episode 10 opened up tomorrow versus White House Down, I own White House Down. It's on my Movies Anywhere. It's right next to Olympus Has Fallen. Did I buy those the same day? I sure did. Did I buy those in the same sale? I sure did. I also have London Has Fallen, but it's only available on Vudu, I believe. And there's another one. There's a TV show, Paris Has Fallen. It just came out on Hulu. And there's another movie, too. I don't know if it was called. Anyway, but if Star Wars Episode 10 and White House Down came out in the same day, no one, like, the majority of the world is going to be shifting towards Star Wars Episode 10. There's no competition. Yes, they're both movies, but people who like Star Wars aren't going to necessarily say, boy, let me not go see this. Let me not go see Star Wars Episode 10. Let me go see White House Down. And yes, we've had Oppenheimer and Wicked and Barbie and Gladiator 2, and people are like, I'm going to do double features, but that's not the point of this. The point is people who watch Fox News and who continually watch Fox News and pay attention to that stuff are only going to focus on that. They're not going to go, it's 11:30, I'm going to watch Jimmy Kimmel. Gutfeld now draws the most total viewers across all of cable TV at 10 p.m. Eastern and is the highest rated show across all of cable news among viewers 25 to 54. Gutfeld has shattered its own records twice this year, first in May with a visit from Bill Maher. Jesus Christ. It drew 2.9 million viewers, and then again in September when Donald Trump joined the show's panel, commanding nearly 5 million total viewers. to become the highest rated episode in the program's history. Again, it's different. It's relative. You have to take this into account compared to shows like Late Night with Stephen Colbert. Although Q4 numbers have yet to arrive for the other shows, Gutfeld's total viewer numbers compare favorably with those of the Late Show with Stephen Colbert for the first three quarters and are greater than each of the other traditional late night shows. But the people who are watching Fox News, who are watching Gutfeld at 11:30 at night, have been A, watching that all day long, but B, they typically aren't going to YouTube, to TikTok, to Instagram, to watch clips, to watch the closer look, to watch Jimmy Fallon play tight pants with Jennifer Lopez and Will Ferrell, to spend time with Colbert and the questionnaire and all that stuff. They're not doing that. They're going to be the people that sit down and grab the remote, grab YouTube TV. As you can see, the light from my TV flickering in the background. They're going to go and sit down and watch Fox News, and that's going to be their entertainment for the night, unless reruns of Yellowstone are on. I like Yellowstone. I have not started the second part of season 5 though. Just don't have time. Me, the guy who watches TV all the time. I don't have time. Sorry, I heard movement. What are they doing? The pool of viewers watching television with Gutfeld airs at 10 p.m. Eastern. Oh, I knew it. Okay, it airs at 10 p.m. And those watching at 11:35 is vastly different. Yeah. But again, the growth is crazy. I would, there's not much that's going to happen in the next year. I can't imagine that it's going to be anything different, any way different. So here's what I would want in the new year for each of these shows as I go to a 2-week hiatus on this show, the same way that they're going a 2-week hiatus. And all I can say is thank God. For After Midnight, I would love to see that show in the next year pick more. I don't say this in terms of like wanting to hurt the comedians that they choose, but pick more traditional comedians. In their last episode, they had Paul Scheer, Alana Glazer, and Fortune Feimster. It's spelled Feimster. Those are the people I more expect for them to have. The episode prior to that, they had Nico Santos and Ben Feldman, both from Superstore. Those are people who I expect for them to have. I don't expect for them to come back from Thanksgiving and have, 2 people who were great on TikTok and then 1 traveling comedian. I think for After Midnight, in order for them to succeed, in order for them for their videos to get more than buddy, don't touch the desk. It's a moving desk. But in order for their videos to get more viewership beyond Taylor's monologue, which is great. We saw, again, she did not have that monologue a couple of months ago. Now she has the monologue. And now it's the most viewed video every time it's posted on the channel. They should bring in more people to play. Jerry O'Connell was on the show, and that's great. Bring in people that people know. And even if they have a large amount of followers, I think that counts. We can have Greta Titleman sit with two other people who I don't know their names, but they seem funny. We can have Matt Bronger and Johnny Pemberton with Nicole Sakura. Those are 3 big names I just said. But let's spread them out. Chris Fleming, Oscar Montoya. This is fantastic. Pete Holmes, they have Pete Holmes all the time. But bring in a more diverse pool and bring in other people from At Midnight. I know they're trying to get ratings for the TikTok generation, but that's you. Trust me, this will help you in the end. For Jimmy Kimmel Live, I would tell him to keep fighting that good fight. Keep as if his monologues have to unfortunately all be about Trump and Trump's cronies and making fun of those people, go ahead and do it. His interviews are fantastic, and it's just keep getting loose with it. He's gotten better with age. And stop the I know he has to do this, but the Bachelor coverage, all that stuff, every time on the monologue he starts talking about the Bachelor, I fast forward. And yes, I do watch all of these live. It's very true. If I can, I'll try to watch them all on YouTube TV. One, because YouTube TV is going to be $83 starting next year, and two, because that's the way the wind goes sometimes. I don't know if that's what the people say. For The Daily Show, I would say, yes, nostalgia is great. Don't depend on Jon Stewart. Don't depend on him. Don't let that happen. You have a stable of great correspondents, and you could differentiate yourself from every other late night show by continuing this rotating hosting thing. You're proving to yourselves right now that you don't need some man sitting in a seat, because they were going to go with Hassan, and I like Hassan Minaj, but you're proving that you don't need some man to just do the same things over and over again. Jordan Klepper's great, Desi Lydick's great, Michael Costa's great, Ronnie Chang's great. Now let's give Dulce some more stuff to do. I don't know where she is. She still works there. And when it's time for Stewart to go, let him go. And if that means you losing the podcast, the two podcasts that he hosts, or one podcast that he hosts, then by all means. It's just like I'm not a fan of his in this time and era right now, because he's not doing what the other hosts are. For last week tonight, I would say stop relying on the same jokes. The same jokes over and over again. And, just keep trying to maintain ownership of the shows and really taking people like your boss, David Zaslav, to task. I think that's very important. 8 seasons. You have access to all 8 seasons of the show. That's amazing. That's so great. I'm going to have a bonus one. For Conan O'Brien, move everything that is late night with Conan O'Brien, Tonight Show with Conan O'Brien, anything that says Conan on it, Conan related, move that from Team Coco only over to the Conan O'Brien YouTube channel, which is his. So I can unsubscribe from Team Coco, because I don't care about those podcasts. I don't want to see any of those podcasts. I don't care. I don't want to see clips. I don't care. For Late Night with Seth Meyers, I would want, this is for NBC, to put more time. Let them. Okay. If you're not going to give them any more money and you're going to take away the band, then let the show get wild and weird and nasty. Yes, you have to worry about advertisers and stuff like that, but what I'm saying is let the show blossom and keep your hands off of it. And do more primetime closer looks and things like that. And hey, I saw a Pepsi commercial with Wally the cue card guy and Seth Meyers doing a Love Actually bit. Listen, I said this when I saw this commercial. If this is what it takes in order for this show to continue, then by all means, let's do it. Let's do it. For the Tonight Show, Fallon, you're the only one playing games, and you have to reset your footing. I know you have a lot of puppy dog energy, but it's time to, I don't want to say grow up, but it's time to just open up. Stop being so broad. Open up your horizons of jokes, of joke writers, and really just, do some pointed things. And maybe for the interviews, let's hone in on things, and let's open up on things. Again, I don't mean he's already so broad. He's trying to play for everybody, but maybe it's try if you're interviewing Jessica Williams, let's do some like hyper focused Jessica Williams stuff. And find different games. You know? We can only do this so much and for so long. For Colbert, this is gonna sound so mean. Hang out with your band leader. Go out, go get dinner, talk to him. I don't even know the guy's name. And do some improv classes with him. Steven, you've done improv. Do some improv classes with this guy. Because it's so difficult watching that show and like watching him try to communicate with any of his band leaders. He's only had two. And then also, I would say, tell that audience to shut up. Deliver jokes, man. Just deliver jokes. Don't worry about. Let's not worry about all this clapping and these applause breaks. It really slows things down. And I think I've gotten everybody. Yeah, that's it. That's all I want for Christmas. I want these shows to thrive. I think late night's great. In the same way that, the morning shows like Today's Show and CBS Mornings, and even that show I've never seen a second of, Good Morning America. Every time I turn to it, it's always on commercial. That's very true. I think those shows, there's a reason why those shows exist. There's a reason why the middle of the day shows, daytime talk shows exist, and late night talk shows. It all boils down to them being the same thing, but I think they all have a reason. Also, Jennifer, this is not a late night show, and I'm not a TikTok person. But there's one TikTok that C Plus Comedy was suggested when I opened up the app to post something, and it was Jennifer Hudson. The workers there, they do this tunnel thing for when they have a guest on, and they'll have Michelle Obama on, and they'll sing a song, one verse of a song tailored to her, and I love it. I think it's so cool. All right, well, if you like what you heard here, head to the website cpluscomedy.com, where we've got interviews with a lot of famous people. I just spoke to Rose Manifeo, who was in Moana 2. She has a new special out on Max called On and On and On. You can check it out today. It's out. It is out. So check it out. That interview lives on youtube.com/cpluscomedy under the interviews, where you can also see video versions of this podcast, as well as LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs podcast, and the Constitutionals, which is the entertainment business news podcast. You can also subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. I'm talking Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Spotify, YouTube Music, anywhere. You can follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Facebook at C Plus Comedy. Me at Chad Black White. Thank you so much for listening, and see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.